school.
Interesting.
And usually school, I lived in Kanda and my school was in Northridge. So by 7:30, 7:45, you have to be in school. I don't remember a time that I was ever late for school. But waking up to do chores, sweeping, cleaning was part of the routine. And my younger sister, whom I'm 3 years older, would at some point also joined in doing the chores. So I would carry most of the chores because I was the elderly person. Then she would play the supportive role, and that's how it was done. Later on, my brother came in. He was also giving some form of house chores to do, and then my younger sister also subsequently. That chores was a very big part of our lives growing up.
Okay. Thomas, thanks very much, Otiwaa, for that initial thoughts and sharing that story about your childhood. Thomas, in your case, what was your situation?
You see, when the question was, I was like, for where? For where? Who is going to get you a house up? Apparently, where some of us grew up, financially, we were not even sound. And I believe that has been one of the major problems for many people. They see getting house up as a social status. So they are now getting it for them. But I didn't have. Yes, not because my parents couldn't afford, but they felt we all need to come together and work together as a family. The family unit, let me quickly say this. One thing most parents are not aware that when it comes to developing a child, you have 5 levels that you need to develop your child. Starting from the physical level, that's why you need to help your child to grow. Providing food and others, shelter and others. The next stage is cognitive, developing the brain, the mind of your child. The next one is social. This is where you train your child to fit into the society. And unfortunately, many parents are not doing this. Then we now move on to education, where now, in fact, that has been the number one for most people now. From the message we heard, almost everybody wants their child to get academic. Then we have the emotional development. Now, these 5 levels, if as a parent you are not conscious enough to train your child to fit into these levels, you have failed. But from my assessment, you see clearly that most parents are just getting maximum 2. Most people, the physical and the educational. That's where their focus is.
And they're forgetting the social and all the other bits.
The child needs to fit. And if you want to pick them one by one, you see that we are at the social level. It's not only about house chores. Teaching your child to even speak your local dialect is one.
I agree. We'll get to all those building blocks in a moment. But so you didn't have house helps growing up, but you had chores. What were some of the chores that you did?
We have the basic ones. We didn't even have tap water, so we have to go and fetch water.
You carried a bucket and go and fetch water.
You work for almost 2 hours today. Then later, by the grace of God, there are pipes around, so we can now go and fetch from around. Sweeping and cooking. Yes, I used to cook.
Okay.
Yes, I'm a very good cook.
You're a very good cook.
Yes.
Well, I know a colleague of mine who can't even boil water.
Yes. And washing. In fact, you have to wash your own clothes. Nobody wash for you.
Okay.
You have to wash it.
Okay.
Yes.
I was washing my own clothes. I think by age 13, I'd become a little lazy. So I used to offer some of my clothes to somebody in exchange for for them to wash my clothes. No, that's not true. I'm making this up. Otiwaa, now let's get back to this conversation. And I like what Thomas just mentioned, that the 5 core or 5 building blocks for raising a well-rounded individual: the physical, the cognitive, the social, the educational, and the emotional. Now, today, let's look at our modern society. You mentioned that you went to school in Northridge, and the ring road is what separates Kanda and the Northridge. A short walking distance from your home. Today, somebody lives in Community 25 and the children go to school somewhere almost in Dansoman or even beyond. Or somebody lives on the west side of Accra and the children go to school on the east side of Accra, and they cross a number of districts to get there. Both parents have to traverse long distances to get into work. drive through crazy traffic. And so the modern stresses of life now makes it difficult for the mother and the father to constantly be there. Now, how do you see these impacting on children being raised and trained to do chores as part of their upbringing?
Xtra, so I lived in Kanda and my school was in Northridge, but we used to walk. So Kanda from the post office through the water and the estate from the water and sewage, you cross the main road and then you walk into Northridge Lyceum. So that was my route. My mother would usually take us and then we'll walk through it. I don't remember there was a time that I actually complained of the commute. It was fun because on that journey, we used to talk. My mother would chat. She would tell us things. She would mentor us on that journey. So it's something that I looked forward to. Today, we drive our kids mostly to school. And waking up in the morning is even like an issue. So for somebody like my kids, I usually wake them up. And lately I decided not to do it anymore because I realized that when they have things that they're very interested in, let's say, and they have a party to attend or a sports event at school, they wake themselves up. They get ready and then they want to go. But what happens to the same energy? Why can't you put that same energy and effort into it when you're being moved or when you're being asked to go to school? I think their mind is processing that task as boring or work. I remember I asked my son, why is it so difficult for you to do chores? He says he sees chores as an abuse.
He sees chores as an abuse.
Yes, I wanted to understand because it doesn't make sense to me. But I also take part of the blame because I did not start him early on chores, mainly because I have to get, I'm a working mother. I need to get things fast and ready and do it effectively and efficiently. So I run through things. I iron his uniform for him. I pack his lunchbox for him. Now he's at the age where I'm trying to get him to do chores, and his mind is simply not accepting it. It's a mental, I don't know how to say it, but I'm sure there's a meaning for it. He can't comprehend it. And I also get the opportunity to work with youth, and I see that lack of skills from the house, like the training that myself and you were exposed to when we were growing up, had like a big impact on our lives. My mother, for instance, when we did the washing, it was herself, myself, and my late sister. She would make 3 pounds of water. She starts at the first one. I start at the second one. My sister would usually wash and rinse, and then one person would dry. We took it in turns. We would take the things off the dry line, and even the skill of pegging the item or the clothes on the dry line was something that my mother was very particular with. You can't hang anything anyhow on the dry line. And these are skills that is needed in even at academic level. So you realize that they bring that same sort of energy into learning. Things are so easy for them that they don't even process certain things. They take the laptop, they're doing some form of a research, they just pick the information there, they submit it as their own. They don't think through. Everything has to be quick and fast. But leave them to sit there and watch a movie. They have all the energy that they have to do. They need to do that. I don't know if I answered the question.
No, you have. And that's a very insightful point that you raised. Thomas, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I like my sister's honest admission. And I'm happy she mentioned the fact that she did not start the training earlier. Now, let me use this opportunity to bring these issues up. When it comes to training children, it's a conscious thing. You must be conscious about it. And training has 4 levels to train a child to do anything. One, let me put this in, that when it comes to child developmental levels, we have a play stage, That's the stage that the child will begin to imitate what you do. I mean, that's why when most children end up playing football, if they are players in the house, but that's the time the child wants to come to you, mommy. Whenever you're doing something, they want to do it with you. Yes, it's a stage in a child's life. Then, as a parent, you need to know that every stage or every age level, there's something you need to do. Between 7 to 12 years, that's the time you need to train your child to do whatever he needs to learn in the home. So I always tell parents that when I meet you and your child cannot do the things you do in the house without your presence, you have failed as a parent. So between 7 to 12 years, you need to now be conscious about training the child. I was sharing this with somebody that some parents think that just because the child is in the house watching me, automatically he's learning. No, it's a conscious thing. You must be conscious about it. So now, for the first stage is watch me as I do it. That's the time you get the child involved. Bring the child. Look, Kwame, whenever you are cooking, this is how we put on maybe the stove. This stage, the child is not, going to play any, major role. He's just going to watch
observe
you.
And learn by observation.
Yes.
Okay.
So you are showing the child, this is how we turn this on. If ironing, whatever it is, this is how you plug the iron, this is how you do this. You are letting the child to appreciate that this is how these things are done. That's the time you allow the child to even ask questions. Mommy, why this? Mommy, why that? The whole stage is watch me as I do it. As the child now observe and is now getting more interested in things, and the age from the time you observe that you know that this child is ready to do something, you move the child to what you call do it as I do it. This stage you are going to do it with the child. So it's about cooking. You tell Mama, today you are going to cook. So let's see how you're going to do it. Now the child now turn off the stove. Say, okay, you've done well. Put maybe the seven on the pot. It's okay. What are you going to put in? Oil. This. You are going to evolve. Where the child doesn't get it right, you do with the child. And it's a period. But don't forget, I said from 7 to 12 years. So it depends on every child. Some learn faster, some slowly. But here it's a conscious thing. You want to train your child. So that period is do it as I do. It can take a year or two, depending on the child. It gets to a time, the moment you now go, when you want to do something with your child, you see the child can perform it without your guidance. Then you are now moving the child to the third level. Do it as I watch you. This is a stage that your child can even go and iron for you, whatever, without giving any direct guidance. You know that he has learnt it. Then you know that I can leave my child to perform. Then you move the child to the last level. That is, do it as others watch you. Meaning, I have trained you to a level that you can also train others. You know, when my sister was talking, she said that the mother, taught her and guided her. In fact, provided guidance. Our parents used to do these things. Even though they didn't learn some of the books we learned, but they were very conscious about it. They would call you and be. But here we are just, like I said, assuming, because we are doing it and this child is so active, he's going to learn. No. Training is a conscious thing. I think parents must be very conscious about it. Don't just leave the child to the level that, he will learn it. Be conscious of whatever you're doing. Call your child. And I do that. And I will encourage every parent. It's not only about the house chores. It's not about cooking. Even my because of the kind of job I do, sometimes I may not be home. So my children can face my Zoom, whatever meeting for me when I'm not there. Like I said, if your child is 12 years and he or she cannot perform certain tasks you do at home, then my brother, my sister, know that you have a long way to go.
Wow. Now, this is a very great point, and I'm enjoying this conversation. Now, do share your own thoughts with us. Send us a message to our Facebook stream or drop us a WhatsApp to 02000009951. And I also believe you could send an X. It's at Asaase Radio 995. More comments when they come in, I will share them. So, Otiwaa.
Nhyira.
Now, these are some great pointers, and it confirms what the good book says about training up the child in the way that they should go. So when they grow up, they do not depart from it. But somebody will argue and say, wait, back then, we had wives who were homemakers. Today, the woman is chasing the dream. And they have to work and come home at 7 p.m. The man is also arriving at home around 7 p.m. And so you necessarily need somebody else to step in to support, because if you both don't work till that 7 p.m. that you do, one paycheck won't be enough to afford you the life that you need, let alone even afford the children the kind of education that you want them to have. How do we strike the balance in ensuring that the children are not raised on the house helps value system?
Sure. So I think, first of all, we need to teach the children to respect that the house help is there to help, and not so there are certain things that they have to be taxed to do. During school days, it's very hectic for the children to sort of catch up with, but there should be some form of a task that they have to do in the morning to be able to get to school on time. And I think that even helps them with their time management. Because if your class starts at 8 o'clock and you have you need to perform a certain task in the morning, you should be able to execute that task and then get ready for school by 8 o'clock. So we shouldn't burden the house up with all the house chores. There are some things that they should be able to do. Things like do your bed, clean the toilet. So I have a lot of pets in the house. I have a monkey, and then there's a dog also. So there's one person feeds the monkey and cleans the dishes. The other one does the dog and picks the poop from, the other stuff. The task needs, and we have to be consistent, because I've also realized that these kids sort of play mind games on you. When they check that you're not looking, oh, she's not looking, she's not checking, so I can just pretend that I have fed the dog or picked what I have to pick, and then they go. So there's consistency, like my brother said, that we have to be conscious of what needs to be done. And sometimes we feel there's an element of the parent feeling guilt that, they need to be at school at 8 o'clock. Why are we burdening them with all these chores before they get to school? Their mind will be tired. When I was doing those chores and carrying water from the GCB to Kanda, I was still going to school, and I don't remember my mind being tired. I'm here today, and I don't think I turned out badly anyway. I'm able to multitask. I'm able to think outside the box. And because we're not engaging them, you find out that when they find themselves in a working environment, for example, they behave like robots. And they can't think outside the box. You always have to micromanage them because they've not been wired to do these things. And I mean, the lifestyle will always be there. We will always have to work in order to provide for them. But how do we fit in all these things to make sure that we're equipping that child for the future? Because I have a 15-year-old. In like 3 years' time, he's out of the house. What kind of person am I putting out there? And when he's out, he's out. When he goes, he's gone. By the time he comes back in, I don't have to feed him anymore. He has to go and look for a job. What kind of person am I putting out there? So we have to be conscious of what and who we're training and the kind of training that we're giving our children, so that they'll also find it easy when they're out there.
The author G. Michael Hopf quote comes to mind. It says, hard times create strong men, strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. Are we going through a cycle where maybe our developmental index as a nation and as a people, maybe 40, 45 years ago, was such that we were able to have support for raising children, and these supports, as Otiwaa mentioned earlier, are aunties. They're people who are related to us, and they also had that permission and the right to instruct and discipline the children in helping raise these children, whereas today we're actually bringing in complete strangers into our homes. And so we work with them and respect certain sensibilities, and therefore they don't have the right to correct and reprimand our children, but they're the ones who are raising them most of the time.
See, Xtra, I like the quote.
Sorry, I wanted to add something.
Yes.
Sorry.
Go on as well.
The other thing also is the kind of quality house help that we're getting in. Remember that these house helps who are coming into our homes also ought to be trained. because they also lack the skills that we're also looking for. So you end up that you have at home the same crop of people, and they're making the same mistake, and it's frustrating you as the parent because you have a certain expectation of how things are supposed to be done, and it's not being done.
Yeah.
Am I making any sense to
you
what
are
I'm saying?
I get the point you're making.
Mm-hmm.
Because you bring in a house help that's probably never worked a microwave, but you need this house help to be able to take out food from the fridge and warm it for the children. You need them to be able to work a washing machine and to sometimes do certain things that they hitherto didn't know how to. I'm guessing that's where...
she's even cleaning and she doesn't know that this is being cleaned properly because she also wasn't taught. Yeah.
True.
It's like Kusi and Kusi, Koda and Koda.
And that's how you end up with the Abiaraism. Thomas, you were making a point.
So Nhyira, let me quickly add something that the Bible will tell you how can two work together except they agree. You can't bring somebody into your home where you don't have the same or you don't share the same vision with the person. Do you even have a vision for raising your children? One thing we need to also establish is that the kind of chores we had in the past, the basic one, the cooking, the washing, the cleaning, those are the basic. Today, by the virtue of the work we do, we also have additional one. I even mentioned my Zoom work and the rest. You see, when you are mindful of training your children to fit into the society, you need to understand that, look, my child needs to have that kind of adequate knowledge about how things are done. You understand? So that whenever they go out there, their confidence level will be there. Some parents think, we love our... To them, they feel they love their children. And one way to show that love is to show them from not doing some of these things as a way to show that I love my child. Please, shielding your children from working doesn't mean love, because your child is transiting in life. That child today will be somebody's employer tomorrow or employee tomorrow. That child today will be somebody's husband or wife tomorrow. That child today will be somebody's whatever. So you need to understand that the child is going through phases. So that person will not forever be a kid as we look at it. So it is important we are mindful of the stages they are going through and now help them, build them up. Imagine your child grows to a place. Recently, I don't know, the curriculum, I think they've done education, they've done well. My child, almost every month, they do cooking in the school.
Okay.
Yes. Even this morning, she told me that, they will be doing another cooking. Now, there's a point. When they are doing the cooking, this is where they get to know that these children are from this kind of one. Because when they ask you to cut onions and you can't cut it, they will laugh at you. Do you know what you're doing to your child? You are bringing his confidence down, her confidence down. Of course. And those who are able to do, they hail them. My daughter came on, she knew how to do things until when they started, she came, she mentioned the name. This girl, Papa, you understand? She was able to fit in. This lady was praised. Academically, this lady is not even good. But through this cooking, I believe her confidence will go up. Yeah. Because almost all the kids here now are praising her.
And that means that at least they have succeeded in giving her the social pillar.
Of course. So, and confidence is key. In fact, I always tell people that if you can't give anything to your child, don't take away your child's confidence. I want my children to be very confident in everything. That's why confidence is natural. Do you know why, Xtra? Even when the child is in the womb, the child will start kicking. It's a sign of confidence that I'm here. People should know that I'm here. My presence must be felt. So if you are not mindful enough to train your child, that's why I even mentioned, don't just when you look at the social pillar here, you should be mindful that everything around the society, I need to find a way to help my child from local dialect, as I mentioned, to even music. I started teaching my child right from age 5, teaching them about music, not how to sing or this, but telling them about the genre we have. We have gospel music, we have hip life, we have high life. So I will be playing songs and I'll tell them, look, whenever you are listening to, don't just listen to me, look for the name of the composer, the year, and even when you're watching music video, who shot the video. So when I come and I will just sing, I say, who is the composer? And I say, use your brain. Because the cognitive aspect must be there. Don't just be observing or watching. You need to understand what you are watching. I started teaching my child from age 5. Do you know at age 10, they brought this curriculum to OWEP, Our World, Our People. Then they put, I think, conjunction on the Lumba picture there. The teacher himself didn't know much about it. the musician.
Wow.
Then my child just got up, started telling them about how he started his music career, the kind of songs. They were like, also for. But watch it. The point is, at that moment, all the children, look, your child will feel like, yeah, I'm on top because all this knowledge, even the teacher himself at that point was being taught by my daughter. Confidence. Give your child confidence. I keep repeating, it's about a conscious thing. Don't just assume, but the child is watching this thing, the child is doing this. No, be conscious. When I come you're watching something, there are questions I'll ask you. So that I tell you, don't just be watching. Pay attention to details. Look at all that. So the next time when you hear somebody talking about it, you can go further and give better details. As we normally say, further and better particulars.
Yeah.
Let the child get to that level. And you see that the confidence level, and the child can fit anyway. The child can fit anyway. Always believing in himself or herself that, look, there's something I can also do that my peers cannot do. You understand? Especially when the child is not even good academically. She will still feel better because there's something I can also do.
Yeah.
Because see, we have reduced everything to academics. And now when the child is not able to perform well there, they feel rejected and dejected. They feel that they've lost themselves. We can help our children for the 5 levels. If time permits, we have to go through the 5 levels. It's something we will
definitely do as a conversation on its own. I think this is something we would serialize because it's an important thing. And some of my colleagues here admitted that growing up, because they were male, they weren't allowed in the kitchen. Now, here's the funny thing. Growing up, I wasn't necessarily asked to do chores in the kitchen. But I enjoyed my mother's company. Even though I spent a lot of time playing football and away from the home. But when I was around and she was cooking, I'd be in the kitchen with her. So the very first time that I attempted to cook, it was simply to replicate what I had observed her do making stew. And I was not far from great. The next time, I say, okay, I think I can cook, tomato stew as you make it. So watch me do it. And she sat down, she watched me, she says, okay, you got all the steps. You missed this one here, you missed that one here. And it was great.
And that's do it as I do it.
Exactly. But you see, there are those who were never even permitted in the environment. Today, thank God, I can cook my own meal. And I enjoy cooking. My 2 boys cook. And they can cook for themselves. There was a period where I was unwell. They looked after me. Cooked every meal I needed in that period. Now, I'm looking back and I'm wondering whether I was very deliberate and conscious about what I was doing. But I was conscious about being in their space and being together with them doing activities, including cooking. Now, how do we ensure that in this mad hustle of our lives today, we're creating spaces to help the children grow educationally, in their cognitive, the social, and emotional?
Nhyira, you can't teach what you don't know. So now that we are now making it known to people, most people, like I said today, their major focus is I need to train my child, provide the physical needs and the educational needs. This is where that's what they know. So now that you know that, look, socially, my child must not be a misfit. He or she must fit into society. So let me share a story. A very prominent person in this country. He's a guy, and from I think it was 3 years or somewhere, went home with his kids, and they couldn't speak their language. So the grannies, those people there were trying to communicate to the children, and if I tell you, the children were just looking like. And they started insulting this man. The man had to now come and hire a teacher, a grand teacher, to start teaching
the children.
At that moment, they will feel like these children are foreigners. They are not part of us.
And if they don't feel accepted and can't fit in, it affects confidence.
So, as a parent, you must from today know that, look, my children must fit into the society. Give them genuine life. Let them appreciate life. Never assume that all we need to do is about academics. Academics is good, but that's why if you want to build a scholar, somebody when you say a scholar, it's not just about your ability to read and write, but your local dialect is also included. Your ability to read and write your own local dialect is part of the system. So we understand. The second aspect is that as a parent, unfortunately, Christians too, we have a challenge. Over the years, misinterpretation of scriptures has also brought in all these challenges. People just try to explain the Bible with the cultural understanding. Because in the past, women were seen in the kitchen, men were seen working. Mm-hmm. So that's how we ended up having that kind of myth that, as for cooking and this and that, the women's job is not man's task. It's not true. It's not biblical. God created the man to operate on 3 levels. Every man needs to be a father. And that fatherhood means your ability or your responsibility towards your home. So from cooking to washing to providing needs, whatever, it's part of your fatherhood. Then as a husband means your responsibility towards your wife. Then you're also a priest, 3 levels. Likewise, the woman, she's supposed to be a mother, having responsibility towards the home. She's supposed to be a wife, having responsibility towards a husband, and being a prophetess. So we need to help our children to operate. That's what the Bible tells you. Train up a child in the way. That word "in the way" is what many of us have not gotten it. There's a specific way.
We don't know the way.
Our children. And let me also say it again. I've mentioned it and I want to repeat it. That "in the way" means if your child is a boy, train him to become a father. He doesn't need to give birth to become a father. Father will understand. It's a man thing. Having the understanding that the word father means Abba. Abba means I'm there. I'm the source, which means I need to provide, protect, and promote. Everything around me comes from me. So my provision is important. So my ability to give my children the necessary training is important. You can't, as you said, you'll be able to teach your child to cook now because you knew how to cook. You can't teach what you don't know. So train up a child in the way. The women must also. So we need to understand. And those who are Christian, listen to us. Don't just assume that these things are women. No, everybody has the task or the what call it, the responsibility of providing. But as my mother would tell you, obema noa ebene, obanso noa ebene. So don't just reduce some of these household chores to women. It's a problem. You know the unfortunate thing. Now when we marry, because we don't know how to cook, we now hide behind culture. Especially if your wife doesn't also know how to cook. It's like, see, it is the women, responsibility to cook. Yes, she needs to know how to cook as a mother. You also need to learn how to cook as a father. So we shouldn't hide behind culture. We need all to understand. But because we are not helping our children today, tomorrow they also go and be a burden. Our boys today will be a burden on their wife tomorrow. You understand? So let's help the system. Many of us are complaining. Whatever problem you have with your wife or your husband now is because of parenting. The parents did not teach him or her. You also are not helping your child today. And he or she will be a burden on somebody else.
Wonderful. Thomas, thanks so much. Otiwaa, just as we wrap up, and this is a conversation I'm sure we'll have to have some more of. Is our generation failing our children? And finally, are house helps necessary?
Nhyira, yes, because we are not passing anything on to our children because we're not passing any knowledge on because we're not spending much time with them at home. But with all this, I have there's a proverb, a common proverb that says "Mentin kro, unumadoko."
Oh, and crew. Okay, Mentin crew. Okay, I saw.
19 crew.
19 crew. They one like the Achilles is around the back of the heel, right?
Exactly.
It's very difficult. To heal.
Okay, that's a decision that we all have to take. That there's a problem. First of all, we need to admit that there's an issue, and then we have to deal with it. There's no shame in a child doing chores. I think the child has a better future if they learn these skills before they get out of the house, and then there will be less burden on us. Because if I look at my children today and I think about my future and when I'm retired, will they actually turn back? What kind of service will they give me, or what is my expectation? So you take care of your parents, don't you, Nhyira?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so it will get to a point where we will not be able to provide for them as we're providing for them now. So we have to teach them how to provide for themselves, so that the burden is off us. So we all have to learn how to heal that 19 clue now before I don't think we want to lose our leg.
We don't want that. That's a fantastic way to bring this conversation to a close at this point. Otiwaa, we're so grateful for the insights you've generously shared with us. Do have a wonderful day.
Sure. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye. And Thomas Kusi-Appiah. Thank you, Apostle. We have other conversations we have to have, but this is all time would allow us. Now, we're going to take a break now. When we come back, we will go into our final conversation, which is Health Today. We'll be talking about HPV vaccines. This is the Asaase Breakfast Show. Stay with us. And again, Thomas, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
Wonderful.
Auntie T, I beg, fix me go betete Ghana. No gari, no oil, no plantain, just beans then eggs.
Hey, bruh, that be dangerous combination, no?
Problem no day. I feel handle am.
For Telecel, with the Bob say everybody gets what they like. That be why Made For Me bundles day. Based on your usage, if you get your own data and call packages, falla! Made For Me bundles like the way you the want town. That *530#, then buy Made For Me bundles today.
Telecel, connecting energies.
This is no ordinary love.
What does love mean to you?
Love is a beautiful thing.
Love is patient.
Oh, love is beautiful.
Love is not selfish.
Love gives us hope.
Oh, I love love.
Love doesn't envy.
Love is kind.
Love is beautiful.
What's your love story? Share your extraordinary love stories with us this Valentine's Day, live on Asaase 99.5 on the Asaase Breakfast Show, Asaase Cafe, Rush Hour, and After Dark. Call into any of the shows or send a 1-minute voice note via WhatsApp on 020-000-0995. We will be selecting the top 5 entries with the most captivating stories and inviting them to the studio. Winners will receive their exclusive invitation to the No Ordinary Love Night, an awesome night of wine, chocolate, and expressions of love at a luxurious hotel. No Ordinary Love is brought to you by Asaase Radio and its partners. For partnership opportunities, contact our sales team on 020-0.
The Asaase Breakfast Show.
Glitch. My head.